So I saw a movie the other day, directed by someone who can only be considered a GOAT when it comes to film, based around a subject that I personally find absolutely fascinating, stacked with a cast filled with actors whom I love. All of these elements on paper put together should result in a cinematic masterpiece. And I'm here to report that unfortunately that did not happen. In fact, we got quite the opposite. I feel like I've gone on record saying that it's almost unfair to go into movies with grandiose expectations, but when we're talking about a new Steven Spielberg movie kicking off the summer movie season, I'm sorry, bruh. I'm not gonna say I had super grandiose expectations, but I had somewhat high expectations for what I was going into with Disclosure Day. And I really walked away disappointed. I cannot lie. I'm seeing a lot of people saying that the first 75% of the movie was a slog and they really got won over by the third act. I find that to be an interesting experience because I had the completely polar opposite experience. I was super into the first two acts, and that third act, if I wasn't already there for like an hour and 30, 40 minutes, I would have gotten up and walked out. I was so disappointed to watch the culmination of a meandering, hollow, unearned conclusion to this story. In an attempt to not be all doom and gloom, let me just highlight some of the positives. Emily Blunt in this movie is absolutely amazing. Her ability to not only get the viewer to emotionally connect with her, but there were multiple set pieces in this film where I was just mesmerized watching her, especially when there were portions of the movie where she had to seamlessly hop from one language to another. I was not even aware that she was a polyglot like that. Her ability to just instantaneously switch over from one language to another, and it sounds like that's her native language, was phenomenal. Coleman Domingo was good in this. Josh O'Connor was great. A lot of the action set pieces and chase scenes really got my heart pumping. I was super into those portions. And unfortunately, that's pretty much where all my positives end. My biggest issue with this movie was the script, which I felt was super uneven. There were severe pacing issues. I found myself constantly getting frustrated by various character motivations or lack thereof. I feel like there was a really slow burn in the first two-thirds of the movie, and then when we get to the final act, everything is just kind of rushed through and things just felt confusing and unearned. In addition to everything I said, it's difficult to kind of dissect and talk about this movie because I'm unclear about what is considered a spoiler or not based upon the premise of the movie itself in contrast to what was provided to us in the marketing. I'll do a deeper dive into all of that in my spoiler video that I'll drop after doing this one. Disclosure Day was a really big disappointment for me. I'm sorry, bro. I've seen people say this is their favorite film of the year and that emotionally it connected with them. I'm glad they had that experience. I am not in that camp. It's not always fair to have high expectations of directors, but we're talking about Steven Spielberg, a director that most people consider the greatest of all time. In my opinion, this has easily earned a spot on the lower end of his filmography. I don't see myself going back to it, and honestly, in a couple months, I probably see myself forgetting about this completely. Final verdict for Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. I'm sorry, I'm going to say go home with this one. I cannot suggest that people spend their time or their money to watch this movie. It just was not a satisfying experience. I'm sorry. So, unfortunately, for Disclosure Day, I'm going to say go home. When it comes to a final rating, I initially gave it 3.5 stars, I believe. But the more I sit with it now that I'm like 2 days removed, I think I may have to bump it down to a 3 out of 5. This did not work for me. I'm disappointed. I expected not more, I expected better. I have way more thoughts, so just tune in for the spoiler video because we're going to talk about it. Until then, peace.